The antique catastrophe of Slough. Selby and Dave had always believed in the simple charm of antiques, and after years of scraping by in the hustle and bustle of London life, they finally took the plunge. They found a small, forgotten shop just outside Slough, near the Heathrow area, perfect for their new venture, Selby and Dave's Curiosities. The shop had seen better days, but its creaky floors and dusty shelves spoke to them. It was a place where they could breathe life into forgotten treasures. Opening day was a small, low-key affair. They hadn't spent much on marketing, but the charm of the place drew in a few locals who wandered in to admire the mismatched antiques, odd trinkets, and an assortment of oddities. Selby, ever the perfectionist, was carefully placing a tarnished silver tea set on display when Dave, in his usual state of cider-fueled giddiness, made a beeline for the back room. Time for a celebratory drink, right? Dave slurred, popping open another can of cider and rummaging through a box of old Bulgarian cake he had found in a market earlier that day. His eyes were glazed, but his spirits were high. "I'll make the tea," he called, cheerfully setting the kettle on the gas stove. His hands were shaking, but it didn't seem to matter much to him. The combination of cider and the rich, sweet cake had taken hold of him in a way only a man with questionable decisions on his mind could understand. Selby, arranging a collection of antique maps, didn't notice as the minutes slipped by. The doors of the shop jingled as a few more customers wandered in, admiring the oddities. But then, 45 minutes into their grand opening, the unmistakable scent of burning reached Selby's nose. His eyes widened as he turned to glance at the back room. "Dave!" he shouted, rushing toward the kitchen. But it was too late. The kettle, forgotten in the haze of cider and cake, had been left on the gas too long. A loud bang echoed through the building, and the entire shop shook as if it had been hit by a freight train. The explosion was so powerful it blasted the roof off the building, sending jagged shards of glass and splintered wood soaring into the sky. The shockwave knocked over cars, shattered windows for miles, and sent a cloud of dust so thick it could be seen from the heart of London. The flames ignited nearby shops, causing an inferno that spread like wildfire across the quiet neighborhood. The casualties were devastating. Thousands of people, including pedestrians and bystanders, were caught in the explosion. The local emergency services were overwhelmed, and reports of the destruction quickly made the headlines. But what truly set this disaster apart from others in the area was the strange and tragic consequence. 17 large seagulls, caught in the blast as they circled overhead, were sent spiraling out of control. Some crashed into nearby buildings, while others plummeted to the ground in flames, creating a bizarre spectacle as the chaos unfolded. It was an image no one would forget. The explosion near Heathrow had claimed one of the most horrific tolls the west of London had seen in decades, becoming a grim footnote in history, one of the largest disasters since the Brinks Mat robbery of the 1980s. As the dust settled, the shop's remains smouldered. The small shop that had started with such hopeful promise was now just a burned-out shell. And in the middle of it all, among the wreckage of their dreams, lay the half-eaten Bulgarian cake, still untouched in the chaos. Selby, covered in soot and in shock, stood silently for a moment. He thought of the antique shop that could have been. "Well," he muttered to himself, "at least we made a mark of some kind."